Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm super excited about this top 5 list because I've put together my top 5 tips for laboring at home. Let's get into it. My number 1 tip is critical. If you don't get this one situated and settled, then really it doesn't matter any of the other tips or your desire to labor at home. And that is to get your partner's buy-in with your desire to labor at home. Now, let's set the stage. Laboring at home means letting your labor start at home if you have the ability to do that. And when labor starts, that you don't just rush off to the hospital, that you actually spend time laboring and allowing your labor to progress at home to a stage where you're comfortable going in. So that really depends on your goals for labor, how far you are from the hospital, those kind of factors. But if you have a strong desire to labor at home, then you have to get your partner's buy-in. So you need your partner to be on the same page with this. And the reason for this is that a nervous partner is not what you want when you're trying to labor at home. You do not need a partner that is asking questions like, shouldn't we go? You don't want them to be worried. You don't want to feel their worry. You don't want to feel their anxiety, because that can really slow down labor and it can really kind of almost like mess up what your body's trying to do and get into a rhythm. It's important to be on the same page so that you and your partner have the same idea of what that laboring at home looks like and what your plan is for going to the hospital, so that they feel comfortable enough to be supportive and they feel comfortable enough to help you with this goal. If you're not there, if you're not on the same page yet, take some time and make sure this is a priority. If laboring at home is a priority for you, then getting your partner's buy-in, their support, is really just critical. It's critical. Tip number 2 is similar but different, and that is to have good support. Have someone or more than one person at home with you to support you in labor. This can come in the form of your partner, or it can come in the form of a doula, or it can be a combination of both. But make sure that you have someone there that is going to support you. As a doula myself, I love to support people at home. If their desire is to labor at home for as long as they can, then it's a great time to have a doula. Bringing your doula in at home is one of the great benefits is that the doula can look for signs and help you execute your plan for when to go to the hospital. It feels really confusing if you're wanting to labor at home to try to figure out when exactly should I head to the hospital, and doulas can help you with that decision and support your plan. So having good support is really key. Number 3 is have a solid plan. So think this through. Think about what it's going to look like to labor at home. Does that mean that you're going to get in your shower? Are you going to get in the tub? Are you going to go for a walk? Are you going to rest for as long as possible? Which is what I want you to do. What is it going to look like? Talk it over with your partner. Look around your house and figure out what your plan is. Do you have your snacks that you need? Do you have your supplies that you need if you're laboring at home? Make sure that you really think through what this is going to look like and have a good plan. So we are 3 of our 5 tips in, which is a great time to hit the like button if you have found any of these tips helpful. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it's a great way to make sure that you have easy access to the rest of our tip videos. Okay. Number 4 is to practice at home. Practicing for labor at home can feel stupid and can feel kind of awkward, but I think that it is so helpful to kind of get a feel of what it's going to look like at home in labor. So when you learn tools in a childbirth class and you learn about positioning and you learn about things to do in labor, practice them. So a good example is I had a family that I worked with that they really wanted to labor in the nursery that they set up for their baby that was on the way. And so they would do all of their practicing in the nursery. So they actually set up the scene like they were planning when labor started. They had their music, they had a diffuser with some essential oil, and they had their notes from childbirth class so that they could look at and be reminded about the tools that they learned. When labor happened, sure enough, there they were practicing in the nursery, and it was a great place to execute that plan of laboring at home. So practice for labor is really important, and practicing in that home environment is really key. So my fifth tip is probably my favorite, and that is to prioritize rest. So this can be really hard. When you have been waiting to go into labor for, weeks and weeks, 40 weeks, maybe even more. When you start feeling contractions and you feel like, okay, this is it, you're seeing a pattern and you're seeing that you are actually in labor, it can be really hard to just try to sleep and rest. But that's what I want you to do. Think of yourself as a cell phone and you're about to go on a really long trip where you don't have access to plug in your cell phone or an extra battery. So you want to keep your battery plugged in for as long as possible. That is what prioritizing rest is. So if you are in labor and it's 8 a.m. and you were kind of up most of the night and laboring, but you're really tired, I would rather you try to take a nap, try to lay down, even rest through the breaks in between the contractions, than an alternative to try to go walk around the neighborhood or try to get into some different positions and try to bring labor on. Rest is so important, and resting for as long as possible is going to help your labor ultimately. There's really no downside to being restful if you can. So make that your priority when you are laboring at home. Okay, we got our 5 tips in. I wish you all the best for laboring at home. And I'm going to put a link right here to the next video in the top 5 series. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend, share it with your partner, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.